Hi there, my name is Annie, and I am going to read your tarot today. It is with my intention that the messages that need to come out, and that you, as the listener, are open to receiving the messages. This is the Mystic Mondays Tarot. It happens to be a Monday when I'm filming. And let's see what messages need to come out on Monday. Whoa, okay. The Four of Cups. This kind of looks like a So, we have the Four of Cups, clarified by the Chariot, the Nine of Pentacles, clarified by the Seven of Pentacles, and then we have the Eight of Wands, clarified by the Emperor, and the Nine of Wands. Let's start here with the Four of Cups. In this deck, you know, it's quite interesting. We've got this person meditating, and, you know, we've got this kind of beautiful bubble. It looks as if that hair is kind of, right, put them in a bubble, and they're meditating, right? There's 3 cups in front of them, and there's one behind, and the one behind, it's, you know, it's also got this kind of bubble around it, and it's a different color. You know what's kind of interesting? I'm seeing here, this is, for me, this gives me throat chakra vibes, right? This color of these 3 cups. However, here in the pink, this is giving heart chakra. So what I'm thinking is, you know, these 3 are maybe some wishes or something that we're thinking about, maybe in terms of emotional fulfillment, something to do with our emotions, our emotional needs that we are, that maybe we already have in front of us, but we want this. This is what our heart wants, and, you know, kind of what our higher self wants. And it's something that we've been meditating through and are working on. And it does look like it is divinely, you know, it's divinely in the works. With the Chariot card here, that, to clarify, whatever this is, it's coming in soon. It's coming in quickly. You know, I think what's kind of interesting is this, you know, necklace. We've got a pentacle on it. To me, what this speaks of is it's coming in soon into the earthly realm, right? We've got the Chariot, which is this beautiful horse who, you know, can see the unwanted, you know, the things that maybe aren't spoken. And, you know, we've got the power of the universe behind. Whatever this is, it's coming in quickly and soon, given by the universe. We've got the Nine of Pentacles here next, with this beautiful peacock. Peacocks make me think of the Empress, right? Somebody who's abundant and fertile. The Nine of Pentacles, we've been grinding hard towards something, and we're almost there, you know? It's almost to completion, right? The 10, right? 1 through 10. 9, we've been grinding and working hard at it. But know that this, whatever this is, it's being blessed, right? The Empress is helping you. And what I see with the 7 of Pentacles indeed is that you've been working really hard on this earthly realm towards whatever this is, right? Your hard work and diligence is paying off. And then we have the Eight of Wands. Here it looks like these wands are going up, right, in the direction towards this, the sun, right? We're going in this direction of passion or something. And now we've got these two cards to clarify. We've got the Emperor, which is more of this kind of fire energy. Wands is the suit of fire. And again, it's quite, we've kind of the sun being here, right? And the way that the colors are even matching up and the position, it's quite similar. However, you know, when here it's like all of these wands are going up in that direction. On this Emperor card, we've got a beautiful, strong tree. And what this makes me think of is we are grounded, right? We are so firmly rooted that we know that we're not letting other things kind of, you know, sway us, right? We are strong and we are feeding off of this beautiful energy. We're working towards this beautiful energy, which, you know, gives us light in turn so we can grow and develop. And the Emperor is someone who's got mastery, right? Ultimate mastery. And you know, what's kind of interesting, the Four of Cups, we've got the Four also here for the Emperor. So I wonder if, you know, we've got these two trees here too. We've got these little tree leaves, which is, you know, kind of an interesting imagery. We're working towards something, right? It's coming into balance. And we are firmly rooted and grounded so that, you know, this thing can come towards us. The nine of Wands here. Again, it's more of this kind of tree energy. It's like we are, and it's in this kind of stair formation or ladder formation, right? And it's interesting that this is in with the moon. Well, we've got the sun here. So again, this is perhaps something that that we're working towards, that we don't tell everybody, you know, something that you work hard and you kind of keep to yourself, but you are diligently working towards it, right? We're working up and working towards it, working towards, you know, whatever this is. It's paying off, right? It's like the roots of the tree, you know, the branches. It's paying off. Whatever we're doing, it's working. Behind the scenes, you know, and in the scenes. Whatever this other thing that we're manifesting through our heart, it's coming in quickly. I know you've been working really diligently and really hard towards whatever this is, and we've got higher powers, you know, watching over you. This is giving me Empress vibes. This is the Emperor. You can see that whatever this goal or action is, you know, with the sun imagery, you've been working towards it. You've been working hard towards it, day and night, and this is paying off, you know. All of this is paying off, and we are grounded through our ambition and our passion. and we are growing in the right direction. Wow. This is fantastic. I hope that this helped. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. Hi there. My name is Annie, and I am going to read your tarot today. I would like to set an intention that the messages that need to reach you come out, and that you as the listener are open to receiving and hearing the messages. All right, what are the messages you need to hear?
Let's start off with the Five of Pentacles
here, eh? Now, we've got a lot of Pentacles energy here. You know, it's clarified by the Father of Pentacles and the Seven of Pentacles. The Pentacles suit is all about earthly things. Career, finance, wealth, you know, that type of thing. And, you know, typically it speaks of not seeing exactly what is in front of us. You know, I think here there's like a doorway, right? And this person is looking to the left. They're not even looking at the doorway, the pathway. And it seems, right, it's as if there's something that maybe is a distraction or something that they're avoiding. They're not looking forward. But here, you know, with the Father of Pentacles, I think it is interesting that I ended up with this placement here, right? It's like this person is looking in the direction of the Father of Pentacles, who is somebody, which is the King of Pentacles, somebody who's got, you know, kind of emotional, or, well, you know, they are fulfilled, they are a leader, they are somebody who has got, you know, things figured out and kind of mastered. I think, you know, with the horns, kind of, or the antlers in rainbow, with the pentacle, you know, in the sky kind of coming down, it's like their crown chakra is activated, like all the chakras are activated, and they are receiving, and they are in tune, and they're a master of, you know, the earthly realm. The Seven of Pentacles speaks of, you know, hard work and, you know, diligently working towards things that pay off. If we move on to Temperance, I think of Temperance as, you know, like this balance. And here, you know, there's one giant ball and these four little balls. And is it necessarily balanced? I don't know. On this little seesaw thing, right? Is one giant thing equivalent to four smaller things? Perhaps it is in some cases. Perhaps not. It looks as if this is in the middle, right, of this kind of balancing situation. And if we look here at the Two of Pentacles here as well with this butterfly, But this infinity symbol, this makes me think of more balance, right? And a butterfly, they're pretty equally balanced, you know, from the left side to the right side. First of all, it needs to be balanced so that they can fly, you know, in sync, right? If one wing is a little off, they'll be flying a little lopsided. On, you know, the other end, you know, this kind of balance in this infinity sign, that also makes me think of right, something is equally and in proportion. And not only that, we've got an abundance of it, right? Infinity is infinite. So I think, you know, what these cards are talking about is balance of something is necessary. Perhaps something balanced on the physical realm, on the earthly realm. If we move on to the Eight of Swords here, you know, typically it's somebody who's kind of bound up, right? And in a way, this person is bound up, right? There's these loose strings or rope around this person, and they're blindfolded. And in the typical deck, or, you know, the meaning, it's like we're kind of in our own way. You know, like, this person is surrounded by all these swords, and swords kind of represent, you know, some mental, I think here it's some mental challenges and obstacles. It could be your anxiety, anxious thoughts, obtrusive thoughts, but ultimately here it's the message in the Eight of Swords is that this person can easily get themselves out of this, right? The knots aren't like super loose, and while we are blindfolded, right, we can kind of move. If we move over to the edge a little bit, the swords will cut through that. And so this is kind of speaking of, you know, internally, how are we keeping ourselves behind? But if I look at this card, it's not necessarily like this person is all tied up, right? It looks like you are beginning to kind of have this mastery, right? You're floating in the middle of this, and while these things are existing, they're not necessarily imprisoning you. You know, you are working on a way to ascend and get out of this. And here, you know, with the Ace of Wands, there is a new beginning that is becoming, you know, out of that. Some new passion, some new actions. That is going to be coming, you know, when we release these things that are kind of keeping us behind. With the Six of Cups here, this is like we are blossoming, we are growing, right? In this new journey. It's not only, right, it's not only like things that you can see on, you know, the surface level, but underground we've been working on these beautiful roots. You know, the roots are in color, and everything that we've been putting in work in, you know, behind the scenes that maybe people can't see, the work that we've been doing to kind of, you know, bring more balance into our life. Not everybody can see all that hard work that you've been putting in, but the results are blossoming, they are showing. And you're going to carry that with you as you begin this new journey. What is quite interesting that we have here to round it all up is the moon, which is then clarified by the sun. the moon speaks of, and again, this is more of that kind of balanced energy, right? Literally the moon and the sun, I mean, that balances everything out, right? That they're like counterparts. But one thing is, the moon, it is powered by the sun, right? The light that the moon reflects is a literal reflection of the sun. What, you know, I think is kind of beautiful here is like we've gone through this journey, right? We've covered ourselves, right? And we're not able to see literally the path that is in front of us, even the doorway in front of us. But what we do know is we're working towards this mastery of, you know, the earthly, right? We are working on it. And what you need to work on a little bit more of is balance and conquering your those inner voices, right? How do we bring to light all the hard work that you've been putting in to make yourself more centered, more balanced, the work that you've been doing to transform yourself, and bring that into the surface. Here, you know, no longer are we seeing to the side. We're looking straight ahead. You know, we've kind of ascended, right? Like we're on this path. You know, what's quite interesting is we've got this kind of repetitive, these two mountains, right? And we're on the path to, you know, coming to the top. Right, if you see these two mountains in the background. And now we are firmly looking ahead towards it. No blindfolds. Moon speaks of, you know, things that are a little bit more hidden, that we're ready to bring to light. This path forward, we've got it, you know? We know the path forward. We're going to bring this to light. And it's going to go so well for you. The sun is one of, you know, the greatest cards, the happiest cards. And what a beautiful journey, right? This balance that you've been on to bring more harmony into the earthly realm. It's a beautiful transformation that you're going through, that you're overcoming, that you are bringing to the surface. And this is going to help everybody. You're going to illuminate and you're going to blossom and grow. Thank you so much for listening and for being a part of this. I hope this was helpful. Thanks. Hi there. My name is Annie, and I am going to read your tarot today. It is with my intention that the messages that need to come out, and that you, the listener, are open to hearing the messages. Thank you for choosing to spend this time with me today. What messages need to come out? So, one thing I do want to start off with noticing is that the cards actually came out, the clarifiers anyways, they came out a little slowly, and they were a little messy, but let's see how we go. And I do note that there was no clarifier that wanted to come out for the Queen of Wands, which is totally fine. So let's get into it. Let's begin with the Four of Coins here. The Four of Coins is the Four of Pentacles. And here it's, we've kind of got this vulture who is kind of keeping them all close, right? And typically in the Four of Pentacles, we see somebody, it's usually they're like clutching, whatever it is. But in the imagery here, hugging her knees, right? Along with here. And it's this vulture here that's, keeping them all within, its wingspan and grasp. So it seems as if, there's something that's being contained on the earthly kind of realm, because the coins and pentacles speak of earth. Now we have the Two of Cups to clarify it. So this makes me think of some kind of relationship, right? So I don't know if there's some kind of relationship that you're in, whether it's a friendship or a romantic, it can be romantic or platonic. Something is keeping you in, perhaps holding you back. And there's some interpretations I can see, one of them being maybe a relationship with somebody who is, kind of keeping you trapped in here. Or another way I could see it is, we've kind of kept ourselves contained and sheltered for a while, but there is something to come, perhaps some kind of relationship, either romantic or platonic, that will lead to some new experiences, that will kind of open you up. I think it's quite interesting that, everything is in black and white, and yet the roses are in color, right? And the outside here, the flowers are blooming and blossoming outside of the vulture, right? It's like outside of the world, outside of whatever this kind of cocoon, safety, protection, there's a whole world out there ready to blossom and flourish. Here with the Knight of Wands, this speaks of the story that this card is related to, I believe, is Vasilisa. And I would actually like to read from the accompanying book. The Nine of Wands. Let me try to find this. right. Vasilisa the Beautiful. From Russia and a Russian fairy tale, according to this version. A merchant and his wife had a sweet and kind daughter known as Vasilisa the Beautiful. When Vasilisa was still young, her mother died. On her deathbed, she gave her daughter a small wooden doll and told her to give the doll a little to drink and a little to eat, and the doll would comfort her. When her mother died, the girl did just that and felt soothed by the doll's presence. Time passed, and the merchant married a woman with 2 daughters. The stepmother was jealous that Vasilisa was preferred by the young men over her own daughters. So the stepmother set out to be rid of her. When the merchant left on a long trip, Vasilisa's stepmother moved the 4 of them to a gloomy hut in the forest. She then put out all the fires in the house and bade Vasilisa go fetch light from their neighbor, Baba Yaga. Gaining comfort from her doll, Vasilisa traveled the dark woods to Baba Yaga's home, a house on chicken legs and surrounded by a fence topped with human skulls full of light. As a terrified Vasilisa waited outside the fence, a rider dressed all in white rode past on a white horse, then a red rider, then a black rider. Finally, the old crone, Baba Yaga herself, rode up in her mortar. Baba Yaga agreed to give Vasilisa fire, but only if she completed some impossible tasks. If Vasilisa couldn't complete them, she would be killed. Vasilisa began to fret as she attempted the tasks, for she was unable to separate poppy seeds from a pile of dirt, or rotten corn from good corn in a single day. But when all hope seemed lost, her little doll told Vasilisa to sleep, for she would do all the work. When a surprised Baba Yaga asked how Vasilisa was able to complete the tasks, the girl explained that she was blessed by her mother. Horrified, Baba Yaga told Vasilisa she wanted nothing to do with blessed people. She kicked Vasilisa out of her house, sending her home with a skull lantern full of burning coals. When Vasilisa arrived back at the hut, the skull magically burned her stepmother and stepsisters to ashes. Now, take that as you will. But for me, what stands out in this tale, and actually, I want to bring out this other book, Women Who Run with the Wolves. This also has a, they also reference this tale in this book, and you can look more about this book if you would like. I'm still working through it, but I think that it's a very interesting message, and I'll kind of go through what that book interpreted and it kind of explained it as, and what this one does here. But to start, I will say there are a lot of similarities with the tale of Cinderella, the Disney tale, right? However, there are some bigger, major themes here. One being, there's some people who, through their own ego, there's some things that some people around you may have to work through, right? Here it's talking about being sheltered. Here we have, a mother's love who gives us this protective doll who helps us, in our kind of path in our journey. And, it says, the mother says, give the doll a little to eat, a little to drink, and the doll will help you. And, what this kind of speaks of is feeding your subconscious. You know, not necessarily in the literal sense, right? A little to eat and to drink. More of how do we trust our intuition? How do we trust in divine protection? Our inner guidance, right? And the way that we feed it and drink it is, you know, by trusting it, right? By hearing something and trusting our intuition, right? Feeling something, if this feels right, right? Like not questioning it and doing, right? That is how you slowly feed your intuition and begin to trust it. You know, the horses passing by, this kind of speaks of you know, moving beyond just this girl, you know, who needs protection, and it's becoming someone powerful, right? On this journey, right? We meet Baba Yaga, who perhaps is scary by some. I think what it speaks about, right? These impossible tasks. Some things do seem impossible, yet, you know, our higher self and our spiritual team, they are here to protect us and to watch over us and to help us. You know, we do put in our hard work in the physical realm, but when we do go to sleep, you know, our manifestations are happening, like things are working, and these are all things happening that we may not necessarily be able to see, you know, on a conscious level, but, you know, in the background, things are working, right? And the tasks get done. Here, finally, what it speaks about, these lanterns and these skulls, right? Full of burning coals, which give us light and passion and energy. That, and this kind of inner knowing, right? We've gone on this deep journey and, you know, kind of gone into the fire, and we've grown and developed a lot. And we are overcoming these people in our lives who may want to put us down, to keep us small, to keep us from growing. But when you trust your intuition and when you put yourself out into the world and live, you know, the experiences, good and bad, that will help you grow into your power, and it'll remove these obstacles, right? The skull magically burned the stepmother and stepsisters to ashes, right? These people who were keeping her behind, who were keeping her small, who didn't want her to succeed, they will vanish when we trust in our own power and sometimes go into a scary journey. But know that your team is behind you. You trust their inner wisdom and intuition. What I see here with the Mother of Pentacles and the Son of Pentacles, you know, we've kind of got this like interesting, again, this work. The Son of Pentacles is, I believe, the Knight. So these are, you know, Pentacles energy is slow energy, slow and diligent, right? But with like a mother's love, you know, and the hard work that you're diligently putting forward, that is going to help you blossom into this Queen of Wands. we're going to get rid of all the obstacles in our path, and we will have this inner light. Our mother, right? The messages of the mother helping with, you know, the son, the daughter, and trusting our inner kind of intuition. You know, it is quite interesting too that, right, we've been kept sheltered. And, you know, someone with loving intentions may have done this for us. But we are required to go on this journey. And know that, you know, the people who love us are with us on this journey. Again, with this kind of flower imagery, right? It's on the outside. But as we blossom and we grow, we embody more of this, and we're able to take on more of the world. The Queen of Wands, this is somebody who is so in tune and so in passion and joyful, and just, I mean, look at the vitality here, right? The smile. This is somebody who's got passion, who's creative, who's got everything working out well. And I think, you know, it speaks for itself that there was no clarifier. You don't need anything, right? This is a beautiful kind of journey. And, you know, I kind of see these all being together, right? These are the things that kind of have kept you in the past, kept you from growing. But I see that you're on a journey, and you've got protection from, you know, a motherly figure, and that you can go on this journey even though it may seem scary. But when you trust in your intuition and you trust this path and you slowly feed it through and nurture it, right, through your words, through your actions, these negative people, whatever has been kind of keeping you behind, that will fade away. And it's a gradual process, but you will grow into this beautiful, independent, strong, creative, passionate Queen of Wands, right? They're still girls, sons, right? But we are slowly becoming this mother kind of energy, which is, again, this is the Queen of Pentacles. This is the Queen, right? We are becoming this Queen energy. Right, we are being nurtured, but you do have to take that step, you know. Sometimes this is more of a darker time, but as we go into this energy, you know, we go into the light. It's like it's either sunset or sunrise, you know. There's something in the horizon, and I see that you're working towards this beautiful thing, and that leads to the beginning of a new journey. The Ace of Coins, the Ace of Pentacles, right? A new beginning. And look at how the flowers are all along the path in this journey, you know? It's been around you, but we're on our way to breaking out into blooming and blossoming. Here, what I also see is the 10 of Swords, right? These are all things that this is in the past, right? 10 speaks of completion, like this is the end of the cycle. And if we look here, this is 11, right? This is the end. The Strength card here is 11. All of these things, whatever this is, that have kind of kept you behind and down in the past, we're overcoming that, and we are starting a fresh, new journey. We're starting new. And we've got strength and courage. And look again how there's a rose here, right? A new, fresh journey. We are blossoming and growing. We are confident. And this is in the sun. You know, there's a lot of kind of nighttime imagery here, but we are starting anew with strength and courage and power. And the butterfly right here, this transformation. You are going to be victorious. The Six of Wands stands for victory and success. And, you know, out of this, you know, the kind of mess, we are transformed. I'm going to start anew. Wow. I would like to pull from the Self-Forgiveness Oracle deck to see if there's anything that can kind of help you on this journey as we are going through this, right? As we are going to blossom and start this new beginning. I'm going to kind of look into this. Can we get any messages on, you know, what we can do to help while in this kind of energy and zone and phase? Oh, wow. Okay. I forgive myself for resisting my need to sit in stillness to process both my past and my present. I choose to believe that when I acknowledge my fear of not being able to adequately provide, I enable myself to access and receive support as necessary. I forgive myself for resisting my need to sit in stillness to process both my past and my present. I choose to believe that when I acknowledge my fear of not being able to adequately provide, I enable myself to access and receive support as necessary. I don't know, maybe some of you are a parent, and perhaps this could even be speaking of, you know, maybe you were sheltering somebody. But this is speaking of, you know, letting them go on their own journey to blossom, right? They're not going to be far away from you, right? There is this kind of beautiful relationship that will be together, but we do have to go on our own journey. Our kids have to go on our own journey, on their own journey. And we will be there, of course, to help, right? I think whether you're a mother or a father, right? That kind of parental relationship, it's hard. But to truly, you know, let your child grow, and to even, you know, to acknowledge that you can't be everything for them. And maybe they don't necessarily need you to be everything, but they just want you to love them. And maybe they just need you to reflect and process your past and present, which will only help, you know, receive support, get you some help, right? I see this in situations, a lot of parental figures, they do really, they give so much of themselves. And who's giving to them? Maybe their partner isn't necessarily doing it, you know? We have to fill our own cup before we can give to others. If you've been giving, who's replenishing? Perhaps you need to go on your own journey, right? We need to blossom. Whatever it is, we need to go into this figure. Now I'm seeing, you know, there's kind of some overlap, right? They might talk about different features, but, you know, somebody was kept sheltered, you know, in this little thing. But we need to be able to blossom and grow and experience life so that we can thrive. You know, and right, these could be different flowers for sure, but you know, they're in this direction. But here I see the flowers have opened, right? They're opening and growing. And we're leaving whatever, all the things that maybe mentally have kept you down, mentally and physically, right? This animal is not only blinded through, you know, all of these anxieties or fears, whatever it may be, it's, you know, it's taken him out. But that's in the past, right? We are growing, we are overcoming, we're starting a new journey on this physical earth. And we are so strong and courageous. And, you know, that blooming. Perhaps this is a partner, you know, who is lending us some strength to help. Not that you necessarily need a partner. You've got all the inner strength and wisdom that you need. But there is some strong transformation. We're getting out of these kind of messy and, you know, dark times, and we are growing and blossoming and transforming to something greater and beautiful on this new journey. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I hope this was helpful.